Well, that sucked. The Florida Gators got absolutely dominated at home by the Miami Hurricanes. Um, let's talk about this for a few while we're getting ushered out of the stadium here on Locked On Gators.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to a brief live episode of Locked On Gators. I am Brandon Olsen. I am here to eat crow and stand in the paint like I've said I would. Clearly, I was horribly wrong about this game. Thought that Cam Ward would have more issues in his first game as a Miami Hurricane than he did. Part of that is because he played exceptionally well. I've never insulted his talent as a quarterback. But also, the Florida Gators' defense was nothing short of absolutely horrendous. I don't think there's another way to put that, of just Florida Gators' defense was bad. Couldn't generate any pressure, whether they blitzed or not. And we'll get better looks for things as we work through the season and as I actually get home and get to watch the game from the broadcast angle. But it was rough stuff for the Florida Gators. Early on, Florida's offense couldn't get going at all. Late, Florida's offense couldn't get going at all. That was a very consistent trend with that offense. Couldn't get going. Graham Mertz got injured, of course, which absolutely sucks. I know that there's a lot of people that go, well, now we get TJ Lagway. That's true. What happened to that pregame energy? It got blown out. I don't know what to tell you. I will say, before I even continue talking about the game, for the people that are like, keep the same energy pregame. Why would I do that? You're an idiot if you say something, get proven wrong, and then just go, no, trust me, I'm right. Come on now. But Graham Mertz got injured. I know that people are excited to see DJ Lagway now, highest ranked quarterback in the country in the 2024 class. Let's not celebrate seeing DJ Lagway just for the sake of getting of Graham Mertz being injured. Play calling was absolutely horrendous. Again, for a guy that says scared money don't make money, he sure coaches like. We're live. I almost said a word I'm not supposed to use here. But for a guy that says scared money don't make money, he sure doesn't coach like it at all. I'm not doing Locked On Canes after show. The way that it works, we never do crossovers after the game. So that'll be Dono tonight. I think he's going. But it's interesting because I feel like I was just present for what will be Billy Napier's, or what was Billy Napier's last season opener as the head coach of the Florida Gators. 34 straight wins at home for the Florida Gators to open the season, and just horrendous football. 3 years as a head coach, you should not be putting out a product like this. 3 years of poor offensive line recruiting gave you some of what you saw today. There were constant issues. It was just horrendous. Even when you did keep in extra players to protect, things like Graham Mertz holding the ball to him. Graham Mertz played one of the worst games I've ever seen from him, including the Wisconsin days. Graham Mertz, just horrible game. We had Elijah Badger right in front of me. Elijah Badger right there is where Elijah Badger was open. If you lead him, it's a touchdown, and instead thrown behind Badger, deflected by the DB. Right there is also where he threw the interception. That was the end of his season, or the end of his game. We do not know the extent of the injury. DJ Lagway came in to finish the game, and that's kind of all we know. It was just absolutely brutal football, brutal opening game for the season for the Florida Gators. There's no other way to go about it. I'm just saying it was just horrendous. Terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I think that, once again, I'm left at a season opener saying that this coaching staff should be ashamed of themselves. Just no pride whatsoever. Just horrible game. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why some people are saying some things they're saying in the comments that are completely irrelevant. But it was just bad football. Bad football throughout. It was not SEC football, and I'll tell you this. I don't think that Miami was close to the hardest team that Florida's going to play this season, which just means that if you can't beat I don't know. It's never as good as it seems in week one. It's never as bad as it seems in week one. But it was just horrible. I don't know how you can rebound and win games with the performance of this team today. Offensive line was terrible. Receivers played well. Tight ends were non-existent in the passing game. There were, 2 targets to tight ends while the game was still competitive at least, and then sure, maybe they got some garbage time once. Running backs couldn't get anything going, which is outside of Montreal's long touchdown, which was also right there, right in front of me. But yeah, outside of that, running game didn't really get going. Hopefully DJ Liveway's presence will help open things up for that, but my lord, man. I mean, and the defense was just, linebacker play significantly improved, but defensive line got no pressure. Secondary broke down consistently, and there were multiple times where they threw the ball right in front of your face, and you did nothing about it. It was just terrible, terrible, terrible football for the Florida Gators. I don't know how you can walk out there and say that you did anything well. We'll have a few more minutes here. I'll look through the chat in a couple minutes. But this bonus episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by LinkedIn, which, if you haven't used LinkedIn yet, you should. Don't be silly. A lot of and so you don't have that access on me. Most points, yeah. How is Tyler Barron? It took him 5 years, but he got a sack. But LinkedIn, the home of professionals, it's the only actually professional social media service that I am on. And small businesses, you gotta use it for hires. You guaranteed to get a very good candidate from there. So sign up with LinkedIn, and then also Game Time, which is how I bought my tickets. A horrible game, terrible game, ruined my day. Great view, front row. Like I said, section 16, row 1, seat 32. Yep, there we go. Game Time is the best place to buy tickets. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed with Game Time. And yeah, Tyler Barron took him 5 years, but finally sacked a Florida Gators quarterback. I will not be at the press conference for the Florida Gators. I will instead be heading to the visitors, like the family friends section for that. But horrible. I don't know how you turn this around, honestly. I think Miami played better than I think a lot of people expected, but I also think it was part of Miami did kind of what you thought they would do, and then Florida didn't at all. It was just a horrible, horrible performance in the Florida Gators. Mertz, again, worst game that we've seen. It was just ugly. I don't know. They shuffled around the offensive line quite a bit at different times. We'll look at that and see which offensive line combination worked the best, because as always, it's more about the unit than the individuals. But this is just, I don't know how you rebound. I don't know how you keep your job. You got to win at least 5 games to keep your job. I don't know how you do that, man. It's rough. It's rough to go out there and spend this whole offseason going, oh, you've improved in these areas, you've improved here, and then you walk out there and none of it is true. Like, again, they were improved, but none of it was to the extent that you thought it would be. The offensive line still looked horrible. You have 2 offensive line coaches. You've kind of not neglected offensive line recruiting, but you've been not good at it for a few years. It's just horrible. Horrible football there, horrible coaching specifically. Defense was not nearly as improved as we anticipated. You had athletes, but again, Florida's approach, the Napier's approach has been get athletes and develop them. But the issue with that is that if you don't develop them, kaput. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. Crowd was rocking. I know that I saw some people say that it wasn't that loud sounding. Crowd was rocking in the first half. It's very intense, very fun to be a part of. It's been, it's just been an awesome experience here, honestly. Gainesville is a fantastic place to be. A lot of fun fans. Saw some nice Miami fans. We're sitting next to a couple of Miami fans that were pretty cool. We were talking a lot of trash. But it's just, as a program, you got straight up dominated, and that can't happen. It's embarrassing. I think Billy Napier has to win 5 games in order to keep his job, and I don't know how you win 5 games playing like that. That's just horrible. Um, no, I know someone said say something positive about Miami at least. Maybe you just got here, but I said, Cam Ward played better than even I anticipated. I think maybe hitting the portal once before has helped him maybe handle the transition quicker than we expected, or quicker than was thought. Played very well. I thought their secondary was something where I was looking at and I said, you know what, I'm pretty skeptical, but their secondary played pretty well. I'm not gonna lie. I think their linebackers was tremendous run defenders, which was always the expectation. So nothing new there. But Florida, man, you can't show out like from not my seat. I'll have more nuanced opinions, but I really can't say too much about some things just because we were not able to see everything from from the higher angle. Since again, we're sitting front row of field, so it's tough to see there. But it's tougher to see how Billy Napier keeps his job. Someone said, "Dude even has Walmart internet." I'm in the swamp. I don't know if you know anything. Actually, you probably don't. Yeah, it's rough. It's just rough, and we've got a lot to talk about with Locked On Gators this week. It's going to be brutal. Oh my God, the comments. It's going to be brutal, and I will say this as well. I know a lot of Miami fans have been here, and they've been very fun. They know what it is. Lead up to the season, talk that trash. And I've always said, if Florida loses this game, I will stand in the paint. Stand in the paint, say whatever you want to say. It's tough stuff. I see a couple parents here, but thank you very much. We'll see you all next time on Locked On Gators.